When it comes to the weird world of character and game design, we often like to think of the best or the worst in each of these respective categories. Even just saying that thought aloud may have made you, the viewer, think of a few names right out the gate. For example, I think of characters like Candy in Street Fighter 6, Heihachi from Tekken 7, or Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 11 as peak character design. However, there's two characters that may actually be on one of those lists for you watching this video that may be on the complete other end of that spectrum for others. That's right, today's subject is Lucky Chloe and Azucena, Tekken 7 and 8's most controversial characters in the game's 30-year history in the gaming world. I've always found Lucky Chloe to be an anomaly in the world of fighting games, and many others see her that way as well. She's also been notorious for having one of the wildest runs in the fighting game zeitgeist. She made no sense but completely worked. She's hated by so many, but one of the most popular picks for Tekken 7. Azucena's run up to her drop was also polarizing, but with the context of Lucky Chloe, she rose to be among the top 10 on the roster. But why did these characters end up becoming so polarizing to the masses that later turned in their favor? That is the question I seek to answer. Before we start, hello there, I'm Zak Not Kyle, Zak for short. If you're new here, I'm a fighting game player and content creator who talks about video games, creative writing, popular culture, and how all of those things interact with one another. I also occasionally talk about the content creators of this community as well. If you like what I do, subscribe down below and stick around for my silly shenanigans. I stream a few times a week on my channel, post videos at least monthly, and run tournaments for different fighting games from time to time as well. With all that info out of the way, let's get into this mess. But first, I'd actually like to thank today's sponsor of this video. That's right ho, it's me and my new merch. You can now wear clothing with my illustrated face on it. Hell yeah. Hats, shirts, hoodies, posters, you want them, I got them. I dropped two different collections, the first being the Zak Not Kyle Essentials collection with this gorgeous design drawn and organized by me. The second is the I'm a Little Monster collection, including both an illustrated Catboy, also done by me, but also a shirt with the name of the collection on it. So don't wait any longer, go get my merch at zaknotkyleshop.fourthwall.com now. Link is in the description and also in my YouTube shop tab. And now, back to the video. Going back to the early history of the public's perception of Lucky Chloe, we need to go to December 2014, nearly 10 years ago. I definitely made some of you feel old. This was the first time that the world would get to see Lucky Chloe, and oh man, they did not take kindly to her. Now, one could look at this in the vacuum and come to the conclusion of, to quote one of my favorite YouTubers, Strange Eons, "We as a culture irrationally hate media and modes of expression common to young girls." However, I don't fully think that was what happened here. Now sure, Lucky Chloe's youthful expressions, demeanor, hobbies, and feminine outfit choices make her a prime material for a largely masculine presenting audience to hate on her incessantly, sure. This got so bad after her reveal that Katsuhiro Harada, the creator of Tekken, jokingly said that Lucky Chloe should be replaced by a muscular skinhead with a gun or MMA fighting style. Harada, my beloved. When this happened, there were actual FGC news publications that ran with this knowledge and actually made people think that Harada was serious and that the North American release of Tekken 7 was not going to have Lucky Chloe in it. This is genuinely some of the funniest shit in relation to FGC history I've ever learned. I love this so much. It's not a secret that Katsuhiro Harada, the creator of Tekken, was extremely fond of Lucky Chloe as a character. It's understandable why, even from his joking tweets. Lucky Chloe was meant to be something different from the other characters in T7, and that much was definitely proven true. In all honesty, no one in Tekken 7's 50-character roster was as recognizable off the bat like Lucky Chloe was to a new Tekken fan's eyes. I would know. It was me. Hi, I was the new Tekken fan. With this knowledge, we would go into the next several years with Lucky Chloe existing in the world of Tekken as we know it during Tekken 7's tenure as the lead fighter for the series up until 2023. Weirdly enough though, this heavily mixed reception of Lucky Chloe would eventually begin to turn on itself. But the question is why? The answer is surprisingly not the clearest thing, but leads into my hypothesis for this video. There wasn't much of a major shift as much as there was a general lightening up of the hatred for Chloe as a character. By the time 2020 hit, gaming publications were writing about how Lucky Chloe's perception in the Tekken community, especially among younger fans of the game, had gone largely positive. And I have a headcanon as to why this is. I personally believe that Lucky Chloe was ahead of her time and is the definition of a character built for vibes. There were traditionally two kinds of characters that primarily existed in fighting games to this point, being characters that were meant to be taken serious, and joke characters. To be taken seriously in Tekken, we had characters like Kazuya, Heihachi, Jin, Nina, etc. And on the other end, we had Mokujin, Roger, and even Bob to an extent. However, characters radiating positivity and pure vibes were more sparing in rosters. Hence, we got characters like Lucky Chloe in Tekken 7 and Tekken 8's Azucena. Hey, speaking of the Coffee Queen, let's talk about her. When Tekken 8 was announced, many people wanted a plethora of old roster favorites to return for the next game. Among the 32 characters on the base roster, we would have 3 new characters, being our newest Mishima successor in Reina, the French spy Victor, and finally our resident Peruvian coffee merchant, Azucena. With those 3 names, Azucena is certainly the one who stands out. Around the time of her release, though, we would see her get another bout of mixed reception, albeit less harsh in comparison to Lucky Chloe. Azucena is an upbeat, fast-paced character with heavy emphasis on her Peruvian heritage, larger-than-life personality, and all around is a total tone change from characters like Reina and Victor, who were introduced with a more serious tone. It mirrors the disconnect between Lucky Chloe and the rest of Tekken 7's cast on a smaller scale. Azucena, though, would end up also being ridiculously popular out the gate this time, ranking among the top 10 characters for Tekken 8's release. The reception to Azucena wasn't as gradual, instead it was mixed at first, but quickly shifted to positive. Why was this? Well, we have Lucky Chloe to thank for the introduction of characters like her and Azucena into the world of Tekken as we know them. These 2 characters are a classification of characters that I've deemed the positive vibes group. I don't really have a name for them, they just all have similar classifications. This group of characters is meant to symbolize the characters that aren't supposed to be taken seriously fully, but also not meant to be joke characters. I think of characters like Johnny Cage, Lucky Chloe, Kimberly, Rashid, Azucena, etc. These characters serve as a contrast to the seriousness, prestige, and darker tones of most fighting game characters, especially of the early 2000s. Lucky Chloe was the most extreme of this character archetype and ended up bordering on joke character territory, while Azucena toned it back a bit and could be more serious. It makes for a more positive experience and allows for fighting games to keep an air of camp around them while adhering to the universe of the game that they are a part of. That's why Lucky Chloe became more popular by the time 2020 hit. More people came into the Tekken scene finding the positive vibes of Lucky Chloe and messed with it, hence why we took interest in characters like this, ironically or not. Lucky Chloe ended up bringing an audience when the built-in Tekken fans weren't all here for her. These characters began to pick up more steam with a newer player base because of the fact that the existing Tekken fan base was more in line with the traditional joke and serious characters, viewing the dynamic as black and white. The newer fanbase of Tekken that trickled in over the years of Tekken 7's existence had a field day with Chloe and later Azucena because they were pure vibes. Tekken over time has evolved into a game with rosters meant to grab a multitude of people from all over the map in the world of games. Having characters with different personalities and playstyles is important to that. The developers have an understanding of their audience and that not everyone wants a super dark and serious character all of the time. Some people find pleasure in throwing people through steel buildings and transforming into literally the devil as Kazuya, while others prefer to dress in pink and shuffle step over people's unconscious bodies as Lucky Chloe. It's where you find fun, and neither is a bad thing. Harada knew this a long time ago, and the Tekken audience finally realized why he made the decisions all these years later. I truly think the reason for Lucky Chloe's vehement hatred from this community is because unlike the other fighting game communities that had characters that could be taken less seriously, but not to the extent of joke characters like Johnny Cage, Lucky Chloe was the first full swing at that. You could argue Alyssa from Tekken 6 was also an attempt at this, but Lucky Chloe was the first full throttle attempt, and long term it worked. If anything, the secret genius of these 2 characters is how they introduce new groups of people into Tekken. I mean, hell, my first Tekken mains were actually Lucky Chloe and Julia in Tekken 7. That's how I found this game that I really enjoy. Characters meant to simply be good vibes have their place in these more serious games, and learning and growing with them is how we see the fighting game community evolve. Sometimes it can be bold and seemingly jarring to the franchise they exist in, but these characters have their place in the community, and hopefully we get to see Lucky Chloe again where she's more appreciated for her impact. For now though, we do have Azucena in Tekken 8, and I hope she continues to do her job well. But maybe the real secret genius of Lucky Chloe and Azucena was the people we backflipped on along the way. But with all that said, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you guys play Lucky Chloe or Azucena? Do you enjoy these characters? I know I certainly do. I'm actually going to be learning Azucena very soon on stream, so stick around for that if you want. Are there any other characters that you would put into this category aside from the ones I listed? Are there any other character archetypes that you feel should be explored on my channel? Let me know in the comments below. And for now, I am going to go start learning how Azucena works so that way I can feel like I'm part of the cool kids too. Bye, sis!